So, what if I told you that most of what you've been taught about strength is a complete lie? What if it's actually a framework designed not to make you powerful, but to keep you, well, manageable? Today, we're going to dive into the Nietzschean blueprint for forging truly unshakable strength.
And there it is. That's the core challenge for us today. Look, this isn't meant to be comfortable. It's actually designed to make you question the very definitions you've probably built your whole life around.
All right, so to build real strength, we first have to bulldoze the false foundation. This first part is all about dismantling what society has incorrectly labeled as weakness.
Before we get into it, just take a second. What's the first thing that pops into your head when you hear the word weakness? Is it a lack of discipline? Giving up? Okay, hold that thought, because we're about to turn it completely on its head.
Here's the radical reframe. True weakness isn't about failing to lift a heavy weight or stick to a diet. No, it's emotional submission. It's surrendering your own inner authority. It's that constant nagging need for other people to tell you that you're good enough or smart enough or worthy. I mean, think about it. It's like living your life for social media likes, constantly refreshing for that little hit of external approval. That right there, that's the ultimate vulnerability.
So if emotional submission is the real weakness, where in the world does it come from? Well, the argument here is that it's not some accident. We're actually trained for it. Let's dig into how this conditioning really works.
It's a pretty bold claim, right? But it's central to this whole idea. The point is that our environment, from school to social norms, is basically engineered to sand down all our rough edges. Why? To make us fit neatly into a predictable, manageable little box.
And here are the specific ways it happens. I mean, just think about it for a second. We're taught to obey without asking why. We're told to be polite, which often just means suppressing what we really think. If you try to assert a boundary, you're called selfish. And that fear of conflict, that gets praised as humility. Every single one of these lessons slowly chips away at our will, making us more and more dependent on what everyone else thinks.
Okay, so how do we fight back against this whole softening agenda? The answer is, well, it's pretty counterintuitive. You cultivate a dangerous mindset. Now, before you jump to any conclusions, let's get crystal clear about what dangerous actually means in this context.
This distinction is absolutely crucial. We are not talking about physical violence or chaos. The Nietzschean idea of being dangerous is all about your internal fortitude. It means being so grounded in your own principles that someone else's opinion or their disagreement or their judgment, it just can't shake you. It means you are no longer predictable. You're no longer easily manipulated. That's being dangerous.
This brings us to the how. It's one thing to have a dangerous mindset, but it's a whole other thing to actually live it out. The absolute key is mastering what's called emotional command.
This is where the magic happens. The first path is being a slave to your emotions. You feel an impulse, you react instantly. Someone makes you angry, you lash out. You get criticized, you get defensive. But the strong person's path, now that's different. You feel all the same things, the anger, the hurt, but you don't act on them right away. You create a little space between the stimulus and your response. And in that space, you observe, you calculate, and then you choose your action with absolute precision. That is real power.
And now we've arrived at the final and maybe the most difficult piece of this puzzle. What do we do with our past? The pain, the trauma. This philosophy demands that we completely reframe it.
Whew, yeah, that's a hard truth to hear, but it's so central to this message. The argument is simple. When we define ourselves by our suffering just to get sympathy from others, we're chaining ourselves to the past. We're outsourcing our power all over again, but this time we're giving it to our own pain.
And here's the liberating truth that comes right after. Your story? It isn't about the wounds you've collected. It's about the person you built from the rubble. Real strength isn't defined by what broke you. It's defined by how you put yourself back together, even stronger than you were before.
So, how do you do it? First, you have to acknowledge your past not as a wound, but as a forge, a place of fire and intense pressure that shaped you. Second, you have to stop weaponizing that story for sympathy. And third, you take every single hardship and you use it as raw material to build a version of yourself that is fundamentally, absolutely unbreakable. And this is the goal. It's not about being the loudest, most aggressive person in the room. It's actually the opposite. It's about developing this quiet, refined confidence. an inner stillness that just communicates that you are not to be trifled with. Not because you're a threat, but because you are so solid in who you are that nothing external can even touch you.
So, let's end with a question. For you, after breaking all this down, which of these so-called weaknesses, the need for validation, the fear of conflict, that tragic story you keep telling yourself, which one are you ready to finally leave behind? The forge is waiting.